Now let's explore the ins and outs of self-esteem with experts in the know. Today we're joined by Tiffany Calderara, Dana Stahl, and Janet Wolfe. Tiffany Calderara is a learning specialist at Beacon College, where she provides academic advising while primarily helping students develop a sense of self, advocate for what they need to learn, and strengthen study and academic skills necessary to succeed as collegians. Formerly a varied exceptionalities teacher for Lake County, Florida Public Schools, teaching diverse learners in kindergarten through second grade, she also served as a developmental specialist and family service coordinator in the infant learning program for the Alaska Center for Children and Adults. Calderara earned a bachelor's degree at Southern Oregon University, a certificate in leadership education in neurodevelopmental and related disabilities from the University of Alaska Anchorage, and holds a master's degree in special education from the University of Alaska Fairbanks. Dana Stahl, who learns differently, became a learning specialist to assist children with learning issues in finding compensatory strategies to reach their social, emotional, and academic potential. Stahl's practice, Educational Alternatives LLC, focuses on educational advice, advocacy, and school placements. Recently, she wrote The ABCs of Learning Issues, a practical guide for parents to help them further understand their children's learning, attention, and anxiety issues. This book bridges the home-school gap by demystifying areas of concerns and captures how parents and educators can work together guiding children to reach their full potential. The ABCs of Learning Issues is available in English and Spanish through Amazon. Janet Wolfe is head of school at the Ideal School of Manhattan, New York's only K-12 independent inclusion school. Prior to joining the Ideal School of Manhattan, Wolfe spent 13 years at St. Paul's School for Girls, a 5th through 12th grade all-girls day school in Maryland. She began as an English teacher, then English department chair, then academic dean, and associate head for academics. She joined Ideal in 2016 while also being trustee of the Online School for Girls, where she served as chair of the Education Committee and a member of the Finance Committee, and worked to promote the mission, development, and brand recognition of this new school. A graduate of the University of Pennsylvania, Janet also earned a master's in education from the University of Pennsylvania. Joining us in studio today is Tiffany Calderara, and joining us by Zoom is Dana Stahl and Janet Wolfe. But our first question today will be to Tiffany. Self-esteem is a term that has various meanings, and particularly when it applies to students with learning disabilities, I'm wondering, how do you define self-esteem?
Well, simply put, I look at self-esteem as a way that an individual assigns value to their abilities and their skills, and often looks at how other people may, as they think, look at them too. So in the case of academic self-esteem, a student would be looking at their academic abilities, looking at how other people might be seeing their academic abilities in their opinion, and how successful they are in the academic environment.
Thank you, Tiffany. Our next question goes to Dana. Why are students who learn differently more prone to experiencing low self-esteem?
Students who learn differently are more prone to experiencing self-esteem because they are unsure of who they are as learners. They tend to use their peers as barometers to assess how they're doing in class, and they realize that they are not as quick to raise their hand, to perform mathematical calculations without the use of pen and paper, or maybe able to memorize spelling words, dates, and facts with ease. These students tend to be unsure of themselves and their ability to perform academic tasks commensurate with their peers. They're not risk takers, and their reticence to complete assignments from initiation to completion of tasks is undermined by their learning differences.
Thank you for that. Our next question goes to Janet. What are some of the signs that low self-esteem has crept into a child's school life?
Any expressions of self-doubt, a change in a child's attitude about their classes or their activities or friends or teachers, sleeplessness or sleeping too much, struggling to start or finish homework, any sort of procrastination really can be a sign of self-doubt. Also, if a child who has always been easygoing in school is suddenly getting into trouble and talking out in class, that can be a sign of low self-esteem. Or if you're noticing that a lot of your child's teachers are mentioning that they're not participating in class, that can be a sign as well of low self-esteem. And it's really good to talk to your child and see how they're feeling if any of these signs or symptoms occur.
Well, thank you. Well, Tiffany, here's another question for you. How easy is it for a parent or even a trained teacher to inadvertently chip away at the child's self-esteem with language they didn't intend to use?
I would say, being that we're all human, and there could be a day where we're stressed, hungry, tired, this could lead us to a moment where we communicate something that could be perceived by the student to essentially impact and bruise their self-esteem. It's in that power of communication that through reflective practice that parents and teachers can try and identify what the experience is for the student and recognize that maybe what I just said by saying you should work harder or you should stop being lazy, maybe recognizing anytime you use the word should, you've taken the wrong step towards impacting negatively a student's self-esteem. So through that power of communication, a parent or teacher can recognize where they made the wrong step and take ownership, saying, you know what, I can't believe I said that. That was the wrong thing to say. Let me try this again. And to recognize that they can now positively impact the self-esteem of that student by owning that mistake and also recognizing the student's experience and showing the student they're resilient and so is the teacher or parent.
So a comment like, use your brain. How damaging is something like that?
I would say inadvertently, while you might be frustrated, it's a sign more that that parent or teacher is frustrated, not that that child needs to use their brain. So the child, of course, will take it personally, and it will make them feel like their ability is being perceived by that teacher or parent as that they don't have a brain. So then is the moment to repair and say, I can't believe I just said that. I must be so impatient right now. Let me try this again. I know you're using your brain.
All right, well, thank you. Well, the next question is to you, Dana. How important is having realistic expectations and goals for your child?
Parents are their children's best advocates. They know who they are as individuals and as learners, and having realistic expectation and goals for your child is essential in order to maintain a healthy balance between what they can easily achieve and what tasks prove to be more difficult. Educational expectations need to be aligned with understanding your child's strengths and vulnerabilities and the academic demands placed upon them. By having realistic goals for your child, success is obtainable and individual progress is secured.
All right, thank you. Janet, while not ignoring a child's differences or deficiencies, how important is it to give equal or even more time to the child's strengths when you're dealing with that child?
That's a great question. It's absolutely essential to give at least equal time to a child's strengths. For example, if your child loves and excels at sports or arts and enjoys outside or school-based activities in these areas, make sure they can continue to have those opportunities to shine. Not every successful adult was an A student in school. Teamwork, collaboration, creativity, and emotional intelligence are all equally essential building blocks for happy, healthy, and productive growth and adulthoods. I also recommend asking your child how they view their own strengths, both in and out of school. Ask your child how you as a parent and how their teachers can build upon their strengths. A strength-based approach will validate your child's individuality and help them to feel really empowered and want to work hard and learn rather than feeling defeated by what is challenging. The more your child can articulate their strengths in and out of school, and the more you acknowledge your child's strengths in and out of school, the better they'll be able to advocate for themselves and to really understand their learning style while taking joy in the activities that they love and maintaining their positive self-esteem.
How important is it in helping your child to understand the nature of their learning difference? Is it something that you as a parent should regularly bring up and address, or do you downplay it?
It's a good question, and one to really think, what does the nature of the word disability, what value is assigned to that? And it kind of is a way of saying there's a lack of ability here. So while I think the language around advocating for oneself involves the word disability and deficits and kind of where there's a recognition of a lack of skill, it's first important, just like Janet said, to focus on strengths and build that foundation where a student understands that well before they understand the concept of disability. So it is important to educate children around their abilities in learning and how they learn, and then to later teach them what exactly this means in the larger society so that they can advocate at the workplace and at the school for what they need.
Thank you. Dana, on A World of Difference, we feature difference makers on every episode, and these are people who learn differently and who have found some measure of success. Is researching and finding examples of people who share the same challenges that your child does to offer as role models, as encouragement, is that a good strategy for parents to try?
Absolutely. Having role models as a source of encouragement is always helpful. And finding a mentor who has walked in your shoes and who has experienced some of the same challenges that your child is experiencing is invaluable. At different points in a child's life, encouragement may look different, but what remains the same is that the mentor is able to help define their individual skill sets and then help to foster to develop them. Children who identify with role models, who can relate to some of the specific challenges that your child is experiencing, allows them to see that the day will come where self-confidence and personal success can merge together within their profession.
Thank you. Janet, what does it take for children with specific learning differences to overcome the challenges they face and achieve their full potential in the classroom?
It's really important that children with specific learning differences receive scaffolds and differentiation targeted to their particular needs. Think of scaffolds and differentiation as a ladder helping an individual reach a higher item on a shelf. Many students need written as well as verbal instructions, large assignments chunked or broken down with specific instructions and smaller deadlines, visual prompts, and audiobooks. You might request also assignment sheets from teachers to help you support even older children at home who struggle with executive functioning. Also, almost all students, but especially students with learning disabilities, benefit from clearly articulated goals and opportunities to practice and revise. Revisiting assignments builds a growth mindset that's essential for success in the face of challenges and allows students to gain both confidence and mastery as they realize improvement over time.
Well, we're going to close out with this final question, and it's something that I want to hear from each of our guests today. What are some actionable steps that parents can take at home to restore or build up their child's self-esteem? And I guess the first crack at this will go to our in-studio guest, Tiffany.
Really good action steps parents can take is to join in their interest, the child's interest alongside them. Not just observe, say in a team sport, but also to have the opportunity to get into the engaged activity that the child is taking part in. So much can be gleaned from this experience, from seeing all their strengths, how they are excited about learning and engaged in an activity. And that also tells the child that your mom and dad, the center of your world, value you very much and find this interest also very interesting.
Thank you, Tiffany. Next to you, Dana.
Let your child know that as individuals and learners, each of us have specific strengths and vulnerabilities, and assure them that there are many ways in which to measure success and that we seek progress, not perfection. Another example may be to demonstrate to your children how to smash the task or break things down into manageable components. And this helps them to create a sense of ownership and accomplishment in achieving small segments of an assignment, which lowers anxiety and allows for the successful completion of assignments and tasks, leading to improved self-esteem.
Thank you, Dana. And last word to you, Janet.
I think it's important to spend time engaging your child in a conversation about their life goals and their strengths. Children think a lot about goals, just as we do as adults, and they want to feel that they have a hand in setting their own course and guiding their own progress. I recommend helping your child list ways that they can use their strengths to accomplish long and short-term goals while taking time for their favorite activities. Also, similarly to what Tiffany was saying, I recommend making sure every day includes time for fun and celebration as a family, even if it's reading before bed, cooking dinner together, or visiting your favorite yogurt store together. Connection with your child is really their greatest asset and will provide them with great confidence and a deep reserve of strength to draw upon throughout their lives. And that time you spend with them, even if it's not doing anything academic, it will just support them and buoy them throughout any challenges they face in the future.
Tiffany Calderara, Dana Stahl, and Janet Wolfe, thank you for joining us, and thanks for the wisdom. Do you have questions about learning differences? Are there concerns you're facing daily in your journey with learning and attention issues? We're happy to answer your questions on air. Sign up via our website, awodtv.org, to have your questions answered during our Ask the Expert segment on an upcoming episode of A World of Difference.